your host, Professor Tuck. Damn, you can always tell what side of my face I lay on by how my beard is. Wow. Sam, come on. She is she is full of energy this morning. I was a little worried about her because she got about 5 o'clock or so. She gets under the covers with me and she's shivering and shivering and shivering. But the thing is, she was only shivering when she was sleeping. I need to talk to my old man and see if I should be taking her to the vet. I'm gonna keep an eye on her for the next couple days. She seems like she's got plenty of energy. It is kind of with the dew and everything like that. It kind of makes it a little colder than usual, because I noticed even I was cold this morning when I woke up. So I figure maybe just the dew just kind of added a little bit of feel like temperature drop. And Sam, because she warmed up just fine. And it's going to be like 80 degrees today. It was only, I think it was like 50 degrees this morning, 48 or something along those lines. But anyways, yeah, I hope y'all liked the late live stream yesterday. Part of the reason why I did that is because one person's like, hey, you didn't finish. And here's the thing, guys. I am in and out of signal. I hit blind spots. And when I hit those blind spots, hey, what's up, Seeker? When I hit those blind spots, I drop signal. And if I'm in the middle of a conversation, we could pick it up the next day or the next live stream that I do. But when you're on trail, if you drop on the backside of a mountain or whatever, or even the other side of a freeway, sometimes you lose signal. There's probably about a 50 plus mile stretch on the Florida Trail when you're on the right side, like the westbound side of the freeway of 10, and then you cross under it and you lose all signal. Like for days, for like 3 or 4 days, I had one bar. I could barely get GPS to load so that I could follow the trail map and stuff like that. It was a pain in the ass. Yeah, it's still, 50 degrees is, honestly, it's not that bad. It's just, I don't know, like I'm wearing, like I don't have any layers on. So this is paper thin. I got shorts on now. They're paper thin. And so between both of those, yeah, I mean, I'm basically walking naked. So you get to feel what real 50 degrees feels like. But when you start walking, that 50 degrees starts feeling like 60, 65, as you get going, because, just the weight from the body heat. The best temperature to walk a trail is between like 50 and 65 degrees anyways, because it's always nice. And I mean, yeah, it may be a little chilly out to your hands and stuff, but as you get going, your whole body's gonna warm up. So that's like ideal if you don't want to sweat. 50 to 65, and you'll start sweating around 60 degrees, and most people are like, oh man, that's still kind of cold, because 70, 72 is like a comfort rating for the average human. And so, but the thing is, like I said, as you get walking, this is why they say hikers burn hot, because even when we get into camp, our body has been generating so much heat through the energy that we've been using that even at night we can sleep pretty warm. So I mean, that's why even though I got a 20-degree top quilt, I can still go down to lower temperatures, because I kind of still burn hot after walking. Oh, she almost got squirrel. Sam, you stay over here. But anyways, let me give you guys a quick view. There's Sam up there. She, as you can see, she's on point. But we've talked about stealth camping, especially on trail, and I want to kind of give you guys a little understanding of how trails are made and how you walk them in certain ways. Okay, so like the rail trails, they are old railroad lines that are no longer in use, and it was just a bunch of, it was just left there to kind of rot. So what they did, and they decided to start doing, was repurposing those old rail lines. So this rail line goes from from St. Charles, which is right there on the Missouri River. So it goes from St. Charles all the way through to Kansas City, and it follows the Missouri River along the way. Stop, and it used to, back in the day in like the 1800s, it would stop at every town or two, and they'd pick up grain or whatever resources to take it to market. Well, now that they're no longer in use, they repurposed them and turned them into bike trails. But the thing is these old rail lines, the farms come right up and bump right up against them. And so there's very few places where there's not a farm. And so when you're dealing with property rights and things like that, and plus, like, look, okay, there's a farm, there's they only got 50 feet. So you see where that split tree is, that's 50 feet. So at the bottom of this slope is where their easement ends. So in certain trails, like whether it be the Florida Trail, the AT, any long distance trail, you will come across several easements, which is they buy a sliver of land to be able to connect from one area to the next, so that they can have a fully functional trail. And so sometimes this is why it takes a while for trails to get done, because landowners are like, we don't want anybody on our land. But even the Supreme Court has recognized a human being's inherent right to travel. So if you take away our right to travel by going, my land, get off, then it creates a whole bunch of issues. So there's a lot of problems where a lot of these landowners are like, screw you, I don't want it. Like in Maryville, the whole reason why they didn't do a connector between the northern section of the ADT and the southern section of the ADT was because they thought that anybody that was traveling, whether it be on bike or hiking, that they were automatically vagrants and drug addicts. I mean, we're talking about in the 70s and 80s, people were thinking this, okay? And so that's why they shot it down way back then. And it's never really gone up because a lot of those old people that were, in their 20s in that time are now still, the major section of the population. So therefore, Maryville will never get a trail that goes through it. However, it has a large biking community, which I find to be very strange. I've even talked to some of these communities, and they're like, yeah, no, we don't, like being next to a trail. Okay, what kind of economic input does making yourself a trail town do? And if you go and watch my video on Heflin, Alabama, which is me on the Pinhoti, you'll understand a little bit more of what I'm talking about, of what a trail town is, because they're freaking awesome. Honestly, a trail town is like red carpet treatment for hikers, and at least on the Pinhoti for hikers, because there's no bikers. But even along this way, there are some towns that have taken like, oh yeah, we want to go ahead and participate in this trail, because bikers generally, for what a biker spends on a decent bike, you could get all of your top-notch gear. So just a bike alone in the biker community costs, $3,000 to $5,000. Whereas for under $3,000, if you want to get top-notch gear, because I mean, my gear, like if I were to total it up, is about $2,000, but most of that's been added over the last few months, because I spent $1,000 between my backpack, my top quilt, and my underquilt. That right there was a majority of what I had to spend. And then like $120 for my hammock setup. You're going to spend $20, $30 for a cook set. You're going to spend $40 for a twig burner if you want a decent one that's lightweight. Those are your sleep system is your biggest expense next to your backpack. And so it's much cheaper to travel this way than it is to travel on bike. So the communities, this being a bike trail, they should understand that people that ride bikes have a lot more money than people, because this hiking's a poor man's sport. Okay, it really is, because you could take a $300 to $400 worth of gear, which I've done, and you could go out and survive and do 3,000 or 4,000 miles on a trail, as long as you do it during the right season, and you'll do fine. And but the thing is bikers have money. So in a trail town, for the hiker community, the average person in the hiker community that goes through a trail town adds $100 per hiker. So that's outside money, that's tourism money, that's people coming in and spending around $100 every time. So some people spend $200 or $300, some people spend $50, some people spend none, but it averages out to $100 per hiker that comes through town. Now, there's going to be some poor hikers that come through town, or some that don't have any money, but even me in Heflin, I spent probably like $20 while I was there. Okay, $20-$50 possibly, between going and getting a resupply at Dollar General, and I stopped off at a fast food restaurant and had like a $5 meal. Okay, so I mean, I spent money while I was in the town because I had to resupply. Now, they didn't have all the resources I needed, like a place where I could buy the can of whatever you call it. So, but the thing is a hiker is worth $100 every time they come through your town in revenue to your local economy. So if you have 1,000 people that come in that walk the trail over a year, which that's a very low volume trail, like the Florida Trail, the Pinhoti, they probably get somewhere around 3,000 hikers a year, and maybe 500 to 700 of them do a full long distance. So that means every town they stop through, because you get a town about every 3 days, every town you stop through, you're putting money into their local economy. Now, the reason why trail towns are so awesome is because you get some form of, you get red carpet treatment. So it's like 7 miles on the spur trail into Heflin. But if you call to City Hall, this is why you keep hearing me talk about calling to City Hall. No, Sam, no. This is why you hear me talk about going to City Hall, is because you call up City Hall and you tell them, hey, the mayor herself will come out and pick you up. Okay, you get to talk to the mayor. This is how I found out. Like, I asked her, it's like, what makes a trail town? Like, what's the benefit for you guys? And she explained to me all the different benefits. Not only that, at the hotel that they have there, it was like, I don't know, $75 a night. But if you were a hiker, you got it for $50. Okay, because they gave you a hiker discount. You go into certain stores and you go buy things, you get a hiker discount. Okay, so therefore it incentivizes, and like when you're walking up and down the Pinhoti, people will tell you, yeah, this is a trail town, you need to stop in there. This is another trail town, you need to stop in there. Here's a perfect hostel at Porter's Gap. Call them, they'll come pick you up and take you to the hostel. You don't even have to worry about it. It was freaking amazing to be able to have that, because what it does is it not only acts as a natural attraction to bring people through your town, but it contributes to your tourism income. And that's really why, it baffles me. Like, a lot of these places, like, no, we don't want anybody sleeping in our parks. It's like, dude, you realize, like, because right now, once we left Herman, it was 25 miles to the next safe camp spot. Okay, the next safe camp spot that we can go to, because there's a nature preserve, and they're doing regular patrols, and like I said, they're very antagonistic towards the traveling community out here. It's like, it's like they're so old school that they just don't get it that people will leisurely walk hundreds or thousands of miles just for fun, or ride a bike for hundreds or thousands of miles. Because for them, I just get in a car. Why would I ever want a bike? Because I've had lots of people tell me that, whether I was on bike or on trail. It's nuts. Okay, it really is. Okay, so let's see what everybody's had to say. Okay. Yeah, and by mile 2, your body starts getting numb and the age pain, camouflage. Yeah, um, yeah, because my knees started hurting for the first couple of miles. Now they don't hurt. I always camped at the bottom of a pass on a long trail, saving the climb for the morning. Yeah, I mean that's one way to do it. But the thing is it's different being on a hiking trail versus a rail trail. Rail trails, like I said, it's old rail lines. So you've got farms, or you got businesses, or you got communities on every side. It's like bumped right up to it. So being able to find places to stealth camp are hard, because you don't want to wake up with a shotgun in your face, because it's happened to on the Alabama road walk. Church of the Masochists, who actually told a story about waking up with a shotgun in his face because the farmer's dog found him as he was sleeping on the edge of his property. And it's things like that you just, if you can avoid it. It's drama that you don't need. And so it means that you might have to be a little bit more vigilant, but it is what it is. Okay, so I mean, and then if you look at the steep slopes, and here, let me show you what it's like to get access to water. I mean, you see how dark that dirt is? That means it's saturated. You will sink about 1 to 2 inches in there and slip and fall and probably slide right into the river if you're not careful and not good on your feet. Okay, but you see how you've got steep cliffs and everything else like that? I mean, yeah, on the other side it's a lot better access, but if you look here, let me show you. Okay, so here. Look how that's at about an 80-degree angle. There's very little slope to that, okay? And that's really where the problem comes, and so like there are certain gray zones that you can do. Like the other night when I stealth camped, I was in a gray zone. That's why I felt comfortable stealth camping, because even on the Buckeye Trail, like I couldn't find a place to camp. There was a civilization on one side and a river on the other side. So of the road, so I parked over on the river. Some people came out, checked with me. I told them I was a hiker and I was doing the Buckeye Trail, and this seemed like a good spot to camp for the night. They chit-chatted with me, got some stories, told them about my YouTube channel, and they left me alone. And you're gonna have people come check you out when you do things like that, but you need to make sure, because some of these farmers actually own these waterways. They own both sides, which means you can't, there is no waterway access in the sense of, because usually as long as you sleep close to a river or a lake, that's kind of like that's a gray zone, because you're not necessarily on somebody's property, because you're sleeping close to the water. And that's, everybody, because it's a natural resource, has direct access to the waterways. Okay, so that's kind of like the gray zone that you play in. That's where I was able to camp the other night. Okay, so you ever been to Northwest Georgia? The Pinhoti takes you into Georgia. I've been through like Cave Springs, Atlanta, Marietta. I've been through small parts of Georgia, but no, I avoid Georgia, especially Atlanta, like the plague. Hey, what's up, Sue Thomas? Okay, does this guy ever read the chat? Yes, I do. Eventually. Yes, he needs chat as he reads chat as he finishes his points. Yes, perfect. Somebody's got my routine down. All right, thank you, Jose Ocasio. Gotta keep in mind he's walking, talking, holding his phone, watching his dog and surroundings, and trying to think all at the same time. Yeah, considering I have brain damage, that makes me highly functional. I still don't understand how I'm able to be this functional with brain damage, but I guess I was a lot more intelligent than I thought back then. I don't know. He hasn't read the chat in 10 minutes. I did dashes and packed my lunch. Gotta go to work. Oh, well, so much for asking questions and having engagement. In the multitude of words, there's no lack. Okay, well, okay, whatever. Understand duress. I was able to read your comments in the same time. He's limited in his growth by opening comments and ignoring them and monologuing. Actually, I've gotten a lot of complaints for doing the opposite of that. You must be new. Under duress, he engages with us. Just be patient. I am new. Just found the stream. Gotta go now. All right. Well, okay. For someone who have to wait 20 minutes more. You know what? Most content creators don't even engage with their chats. Like very rarely. Like small channels, like under 2,000 or 3,000 people, generally engage with chat. The larger creators up at my size, we generally don't engage with our chat because we've got so much going through. And, part of bringing an audience in is having a topic. Yes, we're walking and talking, but I'm also sharing with you what's going on in the world and what obstacles that I have to go through. And sometimes those obstacles, it takes a minute to explain because I usually try to be thorough and detailed so that I don't leave any ambiguity. Okay, that's not a gray zone. People can own land right up until the water. They can't hold the water, so unless you can float. No, when traversing steep areas like that, I rope is your best friend. Hasty rappel. Yeah, you know what? That's why I've got 100 foot of paracord. I just haven't brought it out yet. I'm gonna have to make a warranty claim on my shanty life because one of the buttons came off of the thing of my tarp when I was trying to put it up last night, and that didn't work out well. And so in order to keep my tarp from ripping, because the thing is the thing I don't like about shanty life is that they don't allow you to replace it piece by piece. Because every once in a while you're going to need to replace your hammock, especially if you're a smoker, and every once in a while you're going to need to replace your tarp. But you don't need the bug net and you don't need all the other stuff. You just need to be able to replace those to keep your system up and running and functional. And this is a big frustration. I've seen content creators that will be outright hostile to their viewers and won't engage with them unless they get money. Yeah, no. Resources, some resources, money. Sometimes that resources is giving me a ride to Jefferson City and, helping me get some gear that I'm missing, that I needed, that was left behind because of how I had to leave in a haste. Things like that are extremely important. There are so many people that think that money is the end all be all to everything. And money is just a representation of energy, okay? Just like giving somebody, like a lot of snacks so that they can have snacks. I mean, it took me 2 weeks to get through all the crackers and peanuts that he bought me, or making sure that I had the trekking poles because I need those once I get off a rail trail and I get into actually a real nature trail. So, one creator in particular that will only engage if you super chat. There was a point in time where I said, and some people, I'm like, look, I try and pay attention to everybody, but if you really want me to pay attention to your question, if it's really important that I answer it, it's better to do a super chat because because I keep an eye on it. And if I see something like that, yeah, I'll look at it. And then I'll answer the question because, in my mind, if somebody's putting money out, then that gives them kind of priority. And then I'll just go back to what I was doing and then engage with chat later on once I get done saying what I got to say. It's nothing real. Yeah. Kind of needy. Yeah, well, you know what? Some people want something for nothing. And that's the problem with, I will tell you, when I owned my cleaning business, the one thing I hated most when we were doing the residential side, the one thing that I hated most was doing business with card-carrying Republicans. Now, you might sit there and go, oh, why would you want to do that? Or they should be your best customers. No, actually, the funny thing is liberals are the best customers, and I'll tell you why. Real simple. Okay, and this is a common thing when you're dealing with a conservative, when you were doing cleaning. You come in there and they do a whole bunch of cleaning, and you get it. Then they give you the money, and then they start running down your work as if it didn't work, trying to get more money back, or shame you to a point where you just give them the money back, and then they can get it for free. It's almost like there's an ideology to scam anybody that they see that is beneath them. Because when you're cleaning, I've walked out of places and I said, dude, if you're going to treat me and my crew like this, we're gone. Clean it yourself. You know, I've had to say that. Like, I had a little Asian lady that followed behind us, and everything that we cleaned, she'd sit there and mess it up and then say we weren't cleaning. And, you know, it's like, nope, we're not doing that. I've had people try and berate one of my employees, and I'm like, nope, not doing that. You know, and the thing is like, when you're dealing with cleaning, and if you talk to anybody and you like have a private conversation, they will tell you that, you know, being a if you're in the residential side doing cleaning, yeah, it's not a lot of people end up closing their business because they get tired of being treated so poorly when they come in with a positive attitude and stuff like that. So if you want someone time you should send some respect. Yeah, that looks like we may have lost you, Tuck. Oh no, am I still here? Uh-oh. Am I still? Let me know. I'm gonna give it like a minute or two, because it says I'm still going. If you want someone's time, you should send some respect. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Good. You can hear me. All right. I don't know. Yeah, I dropped from 3 bars down to 1 bar or 2 bars, so I'm starting to run into it. We're getting far enough away from Marthasville that we're starting to lose signal. You get about 5 miles from any city that has a substantial population before your signal really drops. Unless you're riding like freeways, like the interstates, then there's always signal. Like, that's the number one place you can get the best signal, is right on an interstate. You can get constant signal the whole time. So yeah, that's the difference between going rural and staying public. Oh, there you are. You're back. Okay, good. All right. I like your whatever that picture, your profile picture there. I don't know, it's eye-catching. So, but I mean, yeah, I agree with whoever said, you know, time is money. But I expect people. There are people that want to support me along the way, that find my journey absolutely fun and fantastic and want to follow along. And, you know, just like you pay to go to movies or you pay to do anything else in life. For some reason, we've got a disconnect in society where we think just because it's free, we get to bitch, complain, and demand everything for free. The second they go for, hey, you know, it'd be nice if you sent me a couple bucks, you know, then people just like all of a sudden clam up and act like you're the asshole. But I don't care anymore. I will either succeed or I won't. You know, just so you guys know, I have a sponsor who's icon. Yes, yours, Chad. Yeah. I can, yeah, it's so colorful that it catches my eye. Yeah, colors are an easy way to get my attention. But anyways, this episode, every live stream that I do is sponsored by Stephanie at openairproperties.net. I bought my land through her. She's the nicest, kindest, most thoughtful person. Like, if you ever wanted to deal with somebody that like has humanity, still has the human side to them, and it's not all about money and dollars and everything else like that, this woman wants to see every one of her customers succeed. And I think that that's the most valuable thing, because, you know, one thing I learned being in Concho, because that's where I bought my land, is in Concho. One thing I learned about in Concho is that, like, most of these property investors, they could sell a property 5-10 times before somebody actually pays it outright. It actually becomes very lucrative in that sense, because you're making at least 3 times what you originally were asking for, because, you know, people could pay for it for 6 months or a year, and then something happens and then they can't pay for it anymore, and things like that, because it's all owner financed. You'll have to pay a deposit, which when you go to openairproperties.net and you talk to Stephanie, just let her know that Friar Tuck sent you and she'll give you $50 off of your deposit. which is basically 50% off because the deposit's $100 unless she's changed it recently. Okay, but she has land in Arizona, Arkansas, and Colorado. So, Sam, we got a road coming up. Yeah, stay with me. Hey, back here with me. Hold on, we got a road coming up. An actual tarmac road. So hold on a second, guys. But yeah, Stephanie is definitely, if you're looking to buy a blank slate of land and you want somebody that's going to do good business with you, and that matters more to you than anything else. Because I mean, she's always going to give you a good price. I don't think it's about the money for her. I think it's about the impact that she makes in people's lives. And that's why I have the most respect for her. And that's why I invited her to be a sponsor almost a year ago now. Sam, slow down. Hey, wait. I said wait. Yeah. Hold on a second. Okay, cross. All right. Yeah, we gotta cross roads every so often, but every mile or two, you cross a road. Okay, so why is the camera pointed at his ear? Does anybody want to see the scenery? Well, my ear, whatever. Where are we going here, Frere? Come on, Sam, let's go. Yeah, well, if you guys want to see, if you want to see part of the trail, the best time is like the first 2 or 3 minutes, because I usually show some of the scenery around for my regular subscribers. So if you're subscribed and you hit that bell notification for all, when I go live between about 7:30 to 8:30 in the morning, depending upon, you know, what it's like getting out of camp, you will get access to, you'll get to see a lot of the trail, or you'll get to see a portion of the trail. So, the milkman's kid, what a name. It's not a problem, it's just personal preference. I'm not big on selfies. Well, you know, here's the thing, I'll show you. Okay, hold on. Okay, so the live stream app on your phone doesn't have image stabilization. And there are some people that have had to stop watching because of, like, it gives them a form of vertigo or something like that. But I mean, I don't mind walking like this, but I have no image stabilization and I've gotten a lot of complaints. It seems to be a lot more palatable if I do it this way, okay? I mean, I've been doing this for long enough that I've learned what works and what doesn't. You could please some of the people most of the time, but not all of the people all of the time. So, I mean, you guys, I can do the best I can do, okay? And, you know, considering I'm walking, I'm on trail, and you guys get to see the background as I go along, okay? This isn't a green screen, okay? There's my backpack, okay? Oh yeah, there's my trash bag. See, something that most bikers and other people don't carry with them. It's leave no trace. I had to pick up all my cigarette butts, my cans, everything, and bring it with me. Anyways, oh, something interesting last night. I went over and put $1 in the Pepsi machine to get a cherry Pepsi, and it dropped 6 of them out. I was only able to drink 3 of them before I'm like, okay, I've had enough. I don't, like, at this point in time, yeah, and then I didn't want to carry any of them with me. So I just left them for somebody else to grab. So, but I grabbed, yeah, I drank 3 of them. So, man, I'm telling you, I don't understand why, but whenever I'm on trail, every time I switch trails, I get different cravings. Like usually, like when I was on the Florida trail, it was Coca-Cola. Couldn't get enough Coca-Cola. And then when it got to the Alabama road walk, it was milk and hamburgers. And like, so there was a gas station about every 10 miles. And so I used my food stamps to buy a hamburger, like one of those double XL hamburgers, the frozen ones, and get me a can of Coke or something like that, or or even like, as long as you don't put the straw in it, and you just put a lid on it, they can put it on your food stamps. But the second you put a straw in it, they have to charge you cash. Strange rule, but I learned that rule in Florida because every state has weird rules. Anyways, yeah. So, and yeah, I had a craving for chocolate milk a lot. Chocolate milk, Coca-Cola, and hamburgers. Those seem to be the three things that I crave the most when I'm on trail. You know, so we were talking yesterday about, and this is what I'm going to close with. We were talking yesterday. Well, thank you, the milkman's kid. Yesterday we were talking about being a nomad and living on living on less of an income than if you had like a static life and stuff like that. So me doing YouTube, as long as I don't have to make a lot of money in order to be able to, survive and stuff like that. Part of it is because, I get not just the views, but, I've got memberships over on Patreon and things like that. So let me kind of help you understand a little bit of like what $1,000 does for somebody in my situation, because this is my work, and just like any business, you've got a little bit of overhead that comes with it. So sometimes you got to take time and make sure that you got enough power and all this other stuff that you don't have to really worry about as a hiker who's just having your phone on you just to make sure that you're navigating the trail right. Okay, so like it's like $300 a month is about what I spend on food. And so once I get to about $1,500, then they'll cut me off of food stamps. But by the time I get to $1,000, I'll probably get maybe like $50 or $75 in food stamps, which I'm happy. I try and claim as much income as possible. I don't try and skirt the system because, one, I get to do this and not have to do a work program. Why? Because this is considered self-employed. I'm making some sort of income from it. And this is part of the government encouraging people to move into the digital economy. Okay, so if you can't just, from what I understand, because when I first got my food stamps before I was monetized, I never talked about it. But as soon as I found out that Biden signed an executive order, or not an executive order, but signed into law that says that making money on social media and digital income is considered self-employed and part of their work program and so on and so forth. So it benefits me, and so it's in my best interest to claim as much as possible, because what I really want to do is prove that I can make enough money doing this that I don't need to rely on any government services, because I'm able to build I guess not a media empire, but something that's sustainable, that will keep me going and allow me to bring value to society and make money off the value that I bring. Okay, so like right now the way it works is with my my Patreon money. So usually between like the 20th to about the 2nd, so for about 12 days, I'll get anywhere from like $4 to $8 in my account every time your membership's charged. It puts it in my account minus their fees, and and then that gives me, that's stuff that allows me, like if we're on trail and we're going into town, because usually you only show up about every 3 days. One of the things that, okay, cool, hold on. Yeah, I was charging while walking. I could stop in and have a burger, or grab me a Coke and a pack of smokes, or, grab Sam some dog food. Because usually, like, I always, like, dog food, I can get it for about under $8, a 4-pound bag of dog food. So I usually try and always make sure that I have about $10 on me just to cover Sam's dog food in case I need it. And things like that. So it's, if I were to fully get off food stamps, which because I know some of you guys are following this, I got approved because I some things, I didn't get the full amount, but I got like more than 2/3 of it, which is good. That means that I'm making enough to start reducing my benefit amount, which makes me feel good because it means that I get to stand on my own feet a little bit more. Okay, so but my food budget is $300. I don't know. As a smoker, I will buy a pack of cigarettes in a town, and I might not get another pack of cigarettes for 2 or 3 days. And so that's kind of the way, that's my, like, whenever I go into town, what I really try and do is make sure I get something to eat. If I can afford a pack of smokes, grab me a pack of smokes, because I probably won't get one for a few days. Oh, okay. And then, maybe every time I go through a town, I always like to get hot food, because all you're eating when you're on trail, especially if you do the freeze-dried food. So for like $120 a month, you can get 30 freeze-dried dinners. And then for about another $50, you can get powder Nido milk and a thing of Carnation breakfast mixes, and you can survive under $200 on that. But that also means that when you stop into town, you're getting snacks, you're getting something to eat to kind of offset, so you're not carrying all that weight. But that's actually what I started off with. I started off with Mountain House chili mac, Mountain House chicken casserole, and Mountain House lasagna. And I'm telling you, this lasagna is gross. The chili mac is bomb. And the chicken casserole, you can get burned out on it. Like, I'm pretty much at the end of the bag and I'm kind of burnt out on it already. So, and I've been eating that predominantly, just because it's easier, it's nicer on your stomach, stuff like that. So, yeah, no, I was just expressing the science behind it. The cravings come from shortages of certain nutrients in your body. Believe it or not, sugars are necessary. Yeah, but that's why I eat things like rice and noodles, because that gives me the appropriate carbs. And so that's why I have like the chili mac and everything that I have has some sort of noodle in it. In everything I have, those noodles give me the sugar so that my muscles have the energy, so I don't feel the burning in my legs as I'm walking down the street, okay, or walking down the trail. But yeah, the chocolate milk, I don't know what it is that I'm missing. And there's really, soda is, there's nothing, the only reason, I think the reason why I like soda is because when all you drink is water 24/7, it's like the nicest treat. Because like back in the 50s, maybe once a week you go down and spend a dime on a bottle of Coke. It was considered a treat. But now we have, people drink 2 liters a day. And it's just like, it's gotten to gluttony. And I think that part of it is just, for me, I see Coke as a treat. The burger, I could see why I would need it, because you need the animal fats. That's why it's good to cook with lard instead of oil, because the animal fats will actually coat your nerve endings, and so therefore it's part of your natural biology. So I can see the hamburgers there, because I don't really get a lot of fat, especially a lot of animal fat, unless I'm eating something like at a burger joint or something like that. So yeah, I could see where that actually kind of helps. Okay. Okay. Did you encounter a man in black? That would explain the chocolate milk craving. Oh, Sam, no, stay over here. Okay. So we're sitting at about 45 minutes. That was the story that I was gonna end with. So yeah, okay. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is when I talked about swamp. Look at this. Okay, they're turning it into a swamp. Okay, because I mean, look at this. This is why the trees aren't doing so well. Go if you ever walk through a swamp, you'll notice that there's a big difference. Okay, so Whataburger has the best burgers. I'm not a big fan of Whataburger. honestly, I like private burger joints. So yesterday because I had some Patreon money come in, yesterday I bought me a $7 burger at one of these bar and grills in a small little town. Basically, I had 2 bars and that was it. A bar and grill and then a regular bar, which is kind of funny. Like, there's maybe like 100 people in that town. Okay, but it's all farmers too. But like for $7, I got I got like a quarter pound, or maybe, well, it wasn't a half pound. I know that. It was definitely a thick burger. It was somewhere around a third of a pound to a quarter pound. So it was a nice, juicy, thick burger versus going to like Whataburger and stuff like that. You're getting frozen processed stuff that comes with like mealworms and soy proteins and all that other stuff. Whereas when you go to these smaller towns, especially when you're in farm country, like all that stuff's locally sourced. It's really, really good. And, you're getting the best meat possible. And, to be able to get it for $7, I mean, that was a steal. But you got to realize it's in a small town. I was always craved fats and carbohydrates on long trails. My stomach would start growling every time I entered a water course, and I could smell the starchy plants. I haven't gotten that far yet. Sam, get over here. Private places are nice too, but if Whataburger is the only option, I go for it. You know what? There's not Whataburger being an only option, or fast food being an only option. It's usually a second or a third option, because when you're going through small towns, they don't have fast food joints. Like Herman had a Subway, didn't have a McDonald's, didn't have a Burger King or anything else like that. I haven't seen a fast food joint since I left Kansas City. Oh, wait. No. Where was I? They had, wasn't Herman. Oh, yeah, Jefferson City. Sorry. In Jefferson City, I think they got one McDonald's there, and, like one of one or two or three of the fast food chains. Like, when you're on these small trail towns, you're gonna get back country food and back country cooking. And a lot of these places require that you pay in cash, which is why every time I get a chance, I pull cash out whenever I can, so that, because like I've been in places and I've stopped off and they're like, yeah, we're too rural, we can't do credit cards, so unless you can, because there's not even signal out there, unless you can, unless you got cash, we can't help you. And I've been in a few places like that. So I learned my lesson. Always carry at least $20 in cash with you, because some of these camp spots, like when I was the first camp spot I was at the Alabama Road Walk, required exact change that you put in the put in the box. Now, somebody picked me up at the gas station and paid for me to stay there for 2 nights as his good Christian duty, and I really appreciate that he did it. And it was rain. Oh my God, it was raining. Sam, right here. What did I tell you? Okay, so dire situations without water and stranded somewhere arid. Maybe not arid, but yes, I have found myself stranded without water because I was in a brackish part of the Florida Trail for about 20 miles. So if you ain't got extra water on you, you should probably be carrying. I carried a gallon's water with me, but it still it still didn't last me long enough. I went a whole day without any water, and that was not fun. Not what it does to your body, not how it feels. No, that is not fun. But anyways, yeah. So like as a nomad, I mean, past my basics, maybe like a pack of cigarettes every town I go through, something to eat, make sure that I've got my make sure I've got my trail food to get me through. Because, you can use food stamps on Amazon and you still get the free shipping if it's over their dollar amount. And so like, if you do it right, you can find Amazon drop spots in some of these cities. And and that's how you pick it up. Because for a while there, I had people sending me stuff through Amazon, and so I learned how to use. The East Coast is really good when it comes to their drop boxes, but I've seen maybe 2 since I've been on since I've left Kansas City. So no signal. Damn. Yeah. Yes, he carries a life straw for water filter. Most of us do, I think, and myself filter and boil. That's insanity. Hey, what's up, US? Yes. But anyways, guys, it's getting to that time, and I don't want to, like, I should have power tonight because I've got my power block's at like, I don't know, 40%. I've charged my phone like 4 times already on it over the last few days because I haven't had any chance to stop for power. I got to stop for power tonight for sure. No matter what, I've got to stop for some power. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna let you go. I will see you tomorrow. If you want more behind the scenes stuff, come on over and check out Patreon. I've got all kinds of stuff that you find valuable. That is my backbone. I'm not going to be using my website anymore until some things kind of resituate. So I'm just kind of like letting everything go and just keeping bare bones as much as possible, because as long as much as possible. So come on over to Patreon. It funds my trip, and you get some cool stuff in return. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for being here.